Okay, we are taking notes on 1.2, which we are going to classify data and talk about different types of data. Data, which way do you say it? Data? Data. How much data do you have left? How much data do you have left? Which one sounds more?
Data is like data is like a chart.
Oh, okay. All right. So sets of data consist of two types of data. Data set. I'm going to have to pick one and stick with it. Data. Qualitative data consists of attributes, labels, and non-numerical entries. Okay, so qualitative cannot be expressed as numbers. So it's more like labels and names. Let me write names out to the side. Okay, but quantitative consists of measurements, numbers that are measurements or counts. With quantitative data, you want to make sure that you use the units of measure. So sometimes on graphs, the y-axis maybe it looks like it's going by ones, but out to the side it'll say in millions or something like that. So you got to pay attention to what the axis says. Okay, examples. We're going to determine whether each set is quantitative or qualitative. State of residence for each member of the Senate. Is that going to be a name or a number? The state of residence. It's going to be a name, so then it would be qualitative. Okay, what about the age for each member of the U.S. Senate? It'll be a number, so it's quantitative. Okay, grade of each student in the band. What do y'all think? Is it considered more of a name or more of a number? Do what? Yeah, it's considered a name because you could also say freshmen, sophomores, juniors. So it is considered qualitative. Okay, the length of time it takes a particular student to complete a chapter test. Do what? Quantitative, yep, because it'll be a number. Okay, so it's important for us to know whether it's qualitative or quantitative, so we know what kind of operations we can use, whether we can find the mean, the mode, the range, all of those different kinds of statistics. One other thing we need to cover in this same part would be continuous and discrete data. So discrete is the values are finite. Or countable. Okay, and then the other one is continuous. Infinite number of possibilities. So it's not countable. And you can only find or define discrete and continuous on quantitative data. So on the age for each member of the Senate, would that be discrete or continuous? That's kind of a tricky one. What do y'all think? Because we'd more than likely be talking about their age as in years. So I'm going to put out to the side in years. Instead of saying years and months or as a decimal of years, in whole years. So if we are listing the age of each member of the U.S. Senate in whole years, that is definitely discrete. So the other one that's quantitative, the length of time it takes a particular student to complete a chapter test. Will the data be discrete or continuous on that one? I guess it depends if you want to count it everything in between each minute or not. What do y'all think? It's kind of another tricky one. What do y'all think? Y'all talk to me. You think it's discrete? Okay. Yeah, so you could count by seconds, like, but even then you still have exact seconds. True. So we'll say in seconds, then this will be discrete. There's a really good example in the textbook. I'll show you that real quick. If we talk about different types of thermometers, have y'all ever seen one of these thermometers, the mercury thermometer? You can find, because it's continuously going up, so that would be continuous data, but discrete is only going to give you one decimal place. But this gives you everything in between. Okay, let's look at the four levels of measurement. So we have nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So nominal is qualitative data only. Data. Qualitative data only. It's categorized using names, labels, or qualities. And no mathematical computations can be made. It's not like we've combined the mean of, let's say, your favorite kind of food. Okay. Okay, so nominal, let's come up with some ideas or some examples of what nominal data would be. So categories, what's a category? What do y'all think? What's the category? Okay, I'll give you one of them. Eye color. We could find out everybody's eye color. What would be another category that we could survey about or find out information? Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. Ordinal. Ordinal could be qualitative or quantitative. It could be either one. What word do you see with ordinal? What word do you think of when we see that? Any word? Ordinary, or what is it? Order. Ordinary. Yeah. It does have more letters in common than order. Ordinal can be arranged in order or ranked. Differences between the data entries are not meaningful. So things that can be ranked. So I have some athletes in here. How do they rank? What kind of rankings do people do with athletes? Yeah, so stats. So what's a particular stat that they'll rank people or rank teams? Because y'all are ranked right now, aren't y'all? Okay, girls were ranked or are ranked.
Or
No, it'd be more like, well, you could rank the number of athletes or the athletes with the most assists, rankings of basketball. But it says differences either can't be found or are meaningless, so we can't really do that. The one that's listed in the book is ranks of colleges. So arranged in order. So like top college for basketball is yeah. So we have our 1 through 10, our top 10. Okay, let's go to interval. Okay, the interval can be ordered. Meaningful differences between entries can be calculated. 0 implies a position on a scale. Example of this one is body temp in Fahrenheit or Celsius. Also, years are interval. You can arrange years in order. The differences between the years can be found in meaningful. Okay, and then ratio. Zoom in a little better there. Similar to interval level, 0 is an inherent 0. A ratio of 2 entries can be formed and expressed in a meaningful way. Oh, sorry. All right, so for ratio level, we could put height as a ratio, time as a ratio. Distances or distance. So an example would be heights of 180 centimeters and 90 centimeters for a high school student and preschool student. 0 centimeters represents no height, and 180 centimeters is twice as tall as 90. So we can use the words twice, 3 times to compare them. Okay, so let's go through. Let's look at the next page. Level of measurement, and we are going to check either yes or no. You can put a yes or you can put a check mark and a X if you'd like. So think about nominal. Look back at what nominal means. Put data in categories. Is that a yes or no? It's a yes. You could put data in categories, so yes. Can we arrange data in order using nominal? No, because nominal is all about categories and words. It's qualitative only. Meaningful differences in data? No. Determine whether one entry is a multiple of another. So think about categories. And we're talking about like eye color. Can you determine whether one is a multiple of another? You think so? No, but we're talking about blue eyes, green eyes. We're not talking about how many people. We're talking about survey response. If we were to look at the numbers of people, then that would be more of not sure. Let me think of that one. Not sure. Okay, ordinal. Put data in categories. Ordinal deals with putting things in order. So it says arrange data in order. So that's a yes. Meaningful differences? No. Determine if one is a multiple of another. Okay, what about interval? You put the data in categories. Arrange it in order for interval. Are there meaningful differences in the entries? For ordinal it wasn't, but for interval it was, so this is a yes. Determine if one is a multiple of the other. You're comparing them. For interval, you're not comparing them. So this would be a no. Ratio, put it in categories. Arrange it in order. So remember, ratio is height, lengths, distances, volumes. Can you put that in order? Is there a meaningful difference in the entries? And can you determine whether one entry is a multiple of another? Okay, so see how each one kind of adds on to the other? So the one that we can do the most with is ratio, level of measurement. Okay, the ratio test. We're going to add just a few things on our notes. So knowing the difference between interval and ratio can be kind of tough sometimes. So you can use ratio tests or true zero tests to determine if it's an interval or a ratio. So the ratio test, think about what a ratio is. What is a ratio? Y'all remember from back in what, 7th grade when we learned about ratios? 6th grade maybe? A ratio is P over Q. P and Q are just regular whole numbers. If you can write them as a fraction like that with one over the other, then that's considered a ratio. And you can usually reduce it, right? So if you can take the data and write it as a fraction, divide it, and then simplify to get either twice or 3 times or something to show the relationship, then it is a ratio level of measurement. So you think of the word, the use of twice make sense? Twice makes sense for the data at the ratio level of measurement, but it does not make sense for an interval level of measurement. You think about interval as your years. Would you divide 1 year over the other? Let's say like 2020 over 1980. Would that? No, you'd have to find out how many years apart it is, and that's how you would compare it. But we wouldn't divide there. Okay, the other test is called the true zero. Okay, so for ratios to make sense, there must be a value of true zero, where the value of zero indicates that none of the quantity is present, and zero is not an arbitrary value on a scale. The temperature of zero is arbitrary and does not indicate that there is no heat. So temperature and Fahrenheit scale are at the interval level of measurement, not the ratio level. So we want to make sure that a zero value makes sense. Zero value. In the context. So for the zero value to make sense, which one is that? Zero indicates that none equality is present. Okay, and then the last thing would be about missing data. Well, big data and missing data. So what I'm going to have you do is just read through these last 2 pages in the textbook about big data and about missing data. It is page 19 through 22. And if you need to write down a few notes on here, and that's all you have to do.